So those people that are kind of the laggards, and I don't say that as a negative term, just people that, to your point, are kind of sitting and waiting for things to evolve. As soon as they get off the fence and start adopting, they're not going to go, all right, let's go to 100% tomorrow. So they're going to have small pilots and demos like everyone would. Why do you think it's so hard, though, for these companies to get from this pilot phase into kind of this larger adoption?
Yeah, I would say irrespective of whether you're the fence sitter or someone who's leaning in, pilots, it's a function of how you do for any project, right? Whether you're sending, a mission to space or you are electrifying your fleet, the pilot needs to be designed to scale operationally. But unfortunately, a lot of fleets, as they look at electrification, look at pilots as a test of is electrification going to work? And that's not really what a pilot needs to be designed for, right? That's someone else has already proven that whether it works or not. What you need to design your pilot for is for yourself, saying when I adopt electrification for my operations, for my vehicle type and vehicle assets, will it scale, right? And it involves people and operations and how I move my vehicles and where I park it. And there's a lot of, whether I'm labor, non-labor, union labor, right? All those things are things you need to consider. So as you design these pilots, it's critical you take those elements into consideration. And several fleets also under resource their pilots because they think of this as, hey, there's this one guy in XYZ department who is my EV guy, and he's going to run this pilot, and he'll report back to me as to whether it works or not. But unless you're supporting that pilot with the resources, do you have the right level of software, even implemented for your pilot, that can then do you have the right support services? Someone like Camber who can help you support, keep that pilot up and running. Do you know what issues can come up in reliability and uptime and how you prevent it as you scale and go forward? These are all things successful fleets do in pilots so that pilot to scale is not a surprise. Because if it's a surprise, what people then conclude is, hey, I've missed some routes. These charges are down more than they are up. I really can't scale and afford to lose, whether it's revenue or deliveries or customer sat or whatever it is that gets impacted by a missed route. That's what they tend to conclude, which is a false conclusion because they were not even set up for pilots to be successful at scale. So it's really designing your pilots to scale operationally is the key and not testing, does electrification work?
I really like the framing of that. And that's a really, really good point. I think it's imperative when people are looking at the adoption, to your point exactly, that they're building a pilot to actually scale, not trying to figure out whether or not it works.